doing in terms of building muscle?
So yeah, eating meat is basically my entire workout plan at the moment. I haven't actually been in the gym in many, many months. I probably haven't worked out, regularly, like on a multiple times a week basis, in actually a year. When I was back in the US, and I sort of stopped after that, and I was just stuck in like COVID lockdowns, and just, absolutely piled down with work. I started the podcast and other and working on the weekends as well. So I work 7 days a week. And when I'm done with work at the hospital, I come home and I do all my podcast stuff and research. So I'm just always doing stuff, and I've just really let that go. But, I come from a professional sports background. I played, professional rugby for 10 years before medical school, kept playing it through medical school and beyond. And, and so I've just worked out a lot in my life. And so I've built up this base musculature.
Hi, thank you for watching my show, and I'm glad you're back. I'm Amalia, and you're on Growth Factor right now. And no, you are not looking at a comic book character. This is Dr. Anthony Chaffee. And while he looks like Superman, he is a neurosurgeon. He's a former professional rugby player, and he began college at the age of 15. So let's get right to the meat of the argument, Dr. Chaffee.
Liver. If you're not really enjoying it, I think that means that your body doesn't need it. I don't think you have to have liver. I don't think you have to have any organs. I've just subsisted on muscle meat for decades now. The Inuit just subsist on muscle meat and fat. They don't eat the organs. They feed the organs to their dogs. And other people do eat organs. Good for them. But I don't think you have to have organs. But if you like them, go for it. As far as how I eat them, the 3 times I've had liver in the last 10 years, I've actually had it basically raw, which surprisingly enough, raw liver tastes 1,000 times better than cooked liver, because it just changes it so much. It's just like, like it's the difference between like ahi tuna sashimi and like just a can of cooked tuna. It's like, this is a different creature entirely. And so what I do is the same thing with my steaks. I'll lightly salt it. Sometimes I don't always salt, but like say I lightly salt it, I put it on a drying rack, let it dry out for a couple of days, sort of the salt soaks in, and it sort of gets a bit, just more solid, gelatinous and chewy actually. And I like that chewy sort of texture. And then you just sort of eat these things. It tastes amazing. It tastes so much better than cooked liver. And then even then, if I cook it, I'll just sort of sear each side and have it rare in the middle. It tastes so much better. So it definitely matters on how you cook the liver as well.
So I want to give you 3 quotes from one of my favorite physicians. And then I have a question regarding this. Most chronic disease is plant toxicity. It's not disease, it's toxicity and malnutrition. Toxic buildup of species inappropriate diet. And that's from Dr. Anthony Chaffee. So those are 3 of your quotes. So I think that really summarized everything we talked about. But I think my last question, what people really want to know, how do you look like that? How many times a week do you work out? What kind of muscle training are you doing? We know you're eating meat, but what are you doing in terms of building muscle?
So yeah, eating meat is basically my entire workout plan at the moment. I haven't actually been in the gym in many, many months. I probably haven't worked out, regularly, like on a multiple times a week basis, in actually a year. When I was back in the US, and I sort of stopped after that, and I was just stuck in like COVID lockdowns and just, absolutely piled down with work. I started the podcast and other and working on the weekends as well. So I work 7 days a week. And when I'm done with work at the hospital, I come home and I do all my podcast stuff and research. So I'm just always doing stuff, and I've just really let that go. But, I come from a professional sports background. I played, professional rugby for 10 years before medical school, kept playing it through medical school and beyond. And, and so I've just worked out a lot in my life. And so I've built up this base musculature, and it just is just maintained through the meat that I eat. When I work out, things get a lot better. So I try to, when I'm working out, I like to work out like 4 days a week, at least. And then I started sort of incorporating like the X3 bar as well. That's very convenient because it's only like 10, 15 minutes. And you can do that at home. And so that's it. The main thing that I think for any exercise regime, diet comes number 1. Some people say it's like, oh, it's a balance between, your diet and hard work. I think it actually is 100% diet, and everything else is a function of your diet. You are going to get more or less out of your workouts based on the things that you eat. And by not working out at all, but eating the way I do, I maintain a very muscular, lean physique. And then people think like I must be working out, twice a day, every single day. And I'm simply not. It's just purely my diet. When I do work out, I will stack on like, 10, 15, 20 pounds of muscle in a month or two. It's very easy for me to put on weight, but I've had that weight before. And then I can just maintain that by just working out normally and then just eating. But anything you do, anytime you work out, you need to push yourself very, very hard, and you need to go to failure. Anytime I work out, I am pushing myself to my absolute limit, and I go to the point that my muscles simply cannot do anymore. And I find that doing that makes all the difference. So people would do like 10 sets of bench and they go, wow, that was really hard. They struggled with the last couple of them, but they could have done 12. I always will do that extra 2. And I think of those last 2 as the actual workout. You're doing something until you tire yourself out, and then you fight yourself and you see how many you can eke out. And if I have someone spotting me, I'll do 4 more, 5 more, 6 more, because I want to get absolutely everything out of me until my spotter is just like, okay, no, we're done. Let's stop this. Mm-hmm. And I find that gives a massive, massive benefit. I work out with people over the years since I was a teenager, and I've done it that way, and they've done it the other way, and just sort of done 10 and done. And I just keep going until I absolutely exhaust myself. And I've gotten very, very different results from them. And so that's something that I think is very important, is just pushing yourself until you physically cannot do anymore, and then eating meat, and the rest will take care of itself.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to put in the description and the comments. How do people reach you? First of all, you have a podcast, so tell us about that, maybe a website. But if someone wants to hire you for just personal reasons, telemedicine, something like that, do you do that?
I can. I mean, it's sort of, I don't always, obviously, because of, restrictions and limitations, between countries and areas, I can't necessarily give like actual full medical advice, but I can try and counsel people. I can try to give them ideas and on how to, and give them the studies and send them and talk to them about a carnivore diet and how to, optimize their health with nutrition. I'm not going to be changing people's medications or anything like that, or anything of that nature, but I can certainly help them get onto a good, healthy diet for themselves and answer any questions that they have. But I try to make a lot of the information that I have available just for free on YouTube, and just my YouTube channel, Anthony Chaffee, MD, or my podcast, The Plant Free MD. And that's why I made that, because, I was talking to people and they were interested in this, and I was trying to give them a lot of information. It takes a lot of time. And when I'm busy, in that neurosurgical, practice at the hospital, it's very, very, very busy. And I don't have the ability to sort of counsel people on their diet and lifestyle as much as I would like. And so I sort of made these resources so I could direct these, hey, if you're interested in this, just go check out those videos. So that's what I try to do. There are people that feel that they need a bit more hands-on, sort of attention and ask very specific questions. And so I try to make myself available for that, but it can be difficult because of my time restrictions. But if people are interested in that, they can just email me at just anthonychaffee@gmail.com, and I can try and set something up if that's what you want. But I always encourage people to watch the videos first, listen to the podcast first. There's a playlist on my podcast, on my YouTube channel, called Carnivore Starter Kit, and that is I think that has a lot of information on it that can just help people get going on this and help their lives and help their health. And so I encourage people to watch those first. And if there's more that I can add after that, then we can set up an appointment. But I don't want people to spend money when they can just get the information from those videos.
Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for educating us and teaching us your lifestyle. I really appreciate it. And you can find Dr. Chaffee all over the internet. Now you have a way to contact him as well. So thank you. Any last comments or suggestions or anything else you wanted to say, Dr. Chaffee?
Well, no, I just really appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak to you and your listeners. And I just, encourage everyone, whatever they do in their life and in their health journey, just think about it and look at the different options and just try something. You can try something different and just see what works for you. I do a pure meat and water diet because that's how I feel the best. And that's what I think of as food. Food is just fuel and the fuel to help me live my life. It's not my life. I eat food so that I can go out and do things that interest me and I enjoy. but people eat for other reasons too. And so if you want to incorporate other things, then that's fine. I just encourage people to just, don't take everything at face value. The recommendations for the last 50 years have only gotten people more and more sick. The obesity rate has tripled, heart disease tripled, stroke rates tripled, cancer rates have tripled. Type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, even neurodevelopmental delays such as autism have increased exponentially. They almost didn't exist before that. Now they're the only things we treat, and they all increase at the exact same time. So there's something going on here. There's something going on environmentally. I think that has to do with our diet. And I think that that's demonstrated by this reversible nature of these issues. Even autism, people are treating their kids by putting them on a ketogenic diet, and their kids are doing much better. There are treatment groups that are using ketogenic diet for that as well. There's a study that came out of Texas A&M showing causation between a lack of carnitine and autism, and and that showed up in the vegan and vegetarian populations because there's no carnitine in plants or fungus, and so you have to get it from meat if you're deficient in it. Most people make carnitine, but not everyone does, or they don't make enough of it. And so if you're in that category and you're not eating meat, or you're not eating red meat that has the most abundant supply of carnitine, which is the first thing that vegetarians get rid of, then and you're genetically susceptible, then you'll set yourself up for disaster. And there's a reversible nature there. When people start eating a different way, the problems change. And so I just think that I just encourage people just to think about it and to maybe try something different, and just see for themselves. 30 days out of your life, if you can radically change your health, is nothing. It's absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. And so just try it, see for yourself, and see what you think.
Well, we appreciate you encouraging us towards a healthier lifestyle and a better journey. And I encourage all of you to find Dr. Chaffee, his podcast, share him, and of course, share my show. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the alert bell so you can be alerted for the next wonderful interviews like Dr. Chaffee. So thank you for being here. We really appreciate you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.